Well, that man who was singing, his name is Mick Conway, and if I've pushed the right buttons, he's going to say hello. Hello, Mick.
Hi, how you going, Neil and Grant?
Good. Thanks for doing that. It's always worth... There's some people who just hold back for about 5 seconds just to annoy me, but well done you for coming straight in. Thanks for joining us. This is a bit of a thrill because, well, you've been part of our lives, 50 years or more doing stuff. Take us back. Camberwell High School, a couple of brothers who played a bit of music, I believe.
Yeah, we decided as a joke to film the Jelly Bean Jug Band to take the mickey out of rock and roll, and a little talent quest that raised money for charity and whatever. And the joke turned into a career. So
Joke's on you, Mick.
Yep, absolutely. It was, but it's been an enjoyable joke, up and down. And mind you, there's been a few difficult moments as well.
So your interest in music started as you were when you were obviously quite young, probably before high school even.
Well, my grandparents on my father's side were vaudeville people, the great aunts and grandfather, etc. And on my mother's side, they were singers, but my actual family itself were refugees from the entertainment industry. So Jim and I and my sister Janie all jumped in and had just we weren't intending to be. My brother trained as a film editor, and I trained as a high school art teacher. But neither of us had done those careers. We just did the entertainment industry. The band just kept going and just took over everything that we ever did. But I was interested in music right from the start, and in humour, etc. We discovered the blues in the 1960s. There was a shop in Melbourne called Discurio that used to sell old blues, and there was an old jug band records and things like that on vinyl, being reissued on vinyl, and the old blues things. And so we just decided we just loved that, so we just jumped into that and never looked back.
So there must have been something in the water at Camberwell High School. I'm just reading out a few names that appear on the list. A couple of brothers called Jim and Mick Conway. Elliot Goblet, the comedian. Lindsay Klein was a cricketer. Yep. Peter Knight's Australian footballer. Tommy Little, alleged comedian. Tilly Lucas Rod, who plays AFLW football. Brian Naylor, May Your News Be Good News and Good Night, and a couple of sisters called Danny and Kylie. Apparently they could sing a little bit as well. Minague, I think their surname was.
They might go someplace.
What was going on at Camberwell High School?
A lot of things. Camberwell High School was full of very eccentrics and very intellectuals and real ratbags as well. I think I fell into the ratbag club. But anyway, we ended up in the entertainment industry, which was lucky.
Now, the vaudevillian component of your family heritage doesn't show through in the music at all. Under what circumstances does a song called My Canary's Got Circles Under Its Eyes knock things out of the Australian music scene like Ginger Man and I'll Be Gone? It's kind of a different sound, isn't it?
Well, it's completely of a different era because that was a very old song from the 1920s and 30s. I've actually just have one little correction. That wasn't me singing it. That was
wasn't it?
No, it was David Hubbard. I generally was the lead singer, but Dave sang that one. That was he did a beautiful job. He was a really good crooner. So we just I just love that era. The 20s and 30s is what inspired me, and even the songs that I've written ever since have been kind of based musically on that era, but because lyrically we've kind of gone into, apart from the silliness, also the more contemporary kind of issues.
So where did you get your inspiration for the songs then, Mick, to get a title like that? Does this somebody heard something and said, "Oh, there's a song"?
Yeah, that's what happens usually. But that one was an old song, so I didn't write that one. That's my Canary Circles. It was a big hit for various singers back in the 1930s. Al Bowley being one of them, famous English crooner. England's answer to Bing Crosby. And it was done by a lot of people, but no one had been doing it. But I just loved, a silly title. So I used to collect old 78s. I don't know if any of your audience are young enough to know, old enough to know what a 78 record is, but I'll wind up gramophone records.
We've got one or two listeners, I suspect, who think a record is something that's cylindrical.
Yeah, that's right. Well, my grandfather did cylinders, so I used to collect them. I always attracted to songs with silly titles, and that was one of them. That was one of the first 78s I ever collected. So I was in love with that song for like a 14-year-old, I think. So.
And why Captain Matchbox Whoopee Band? I mean, there's a few things in there that obviously Whoopee is mentioned in the song. Where did that name come from?
Well, it just evolved, but basically it happened because around that time, which is the late 60s, we're talking about, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band had come out, and we actually had been the Jelly Bean Jug Band, but we wanted a name that didn't just say Jug Band because we wanted to broaden our kind of musical horizons. And I thought that was such a good title for a band, but instead of going for Lonely Hearts, we went for the Whoopee, so something a bit more silly, but still had the slightly militaristic start. I don't know. It was we were just teenagers, having fun and not really, caring, and just the youth has its own ways of doing things. The arrogance of youth, I guess, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
What sort of musical instruments are you got up across, Mick? I know you've got a whole range of them. Give us a list of some of the ones you play.
In the shows that I'm doing now, the one that I played the tenor guitar, and I play a harmonica and a whole lot of silly noises, and jug. But I love playing the saw, musical saw. I've got a whole thing about playing. That's where the attraction of jug band music was using improvised instruments. Instruments, usually organised for, originally made for anything other than music. But then because mainly in the early jug bands didn't have any money, or very little money, so they had to improvise. They might have one banjo or one guitar or a harmonica or something, but they'd stick in these other things. So the T-chest bass is another one, but I started off playing washboard and jug, and I couldn't play anything that far, and some would say I still can't, but anyway, that's the story. And with the saw, that's an instrument of destruction but when you play it as a musical instrument with a bow, it sounds like some heavenly angel singing. It's just amazing. So I'm attracted to things that aren't really meant to be music. Rubber glove bassoons and drinking straw flutes, and just things that are planned for other things. But if they can sound any good, or even if they sound funny, I put them in.
So, at what point did you think, hang on a minute, this is more than a talent quest, I can actually make a living out of this? And what was the trigger?
Look, it took quite a few years. I'm a bit of a slow learner. We didn't really think it was a career. We really, even though my grandparents had, been musicians and dancers and soubrettes and all kinds of vaudeville kind of things and singers, I had no idea that it was going to be a career. I was still planning, well into Captain Matchbox. I was doing, I was training as an art teacher, so high school art teacher. Yep. But the whole thing just took off, and I just kept going with it. And there came a point at the end of the course, which I did qualify, but at the end of the course, I just thought, I could go one way or the other, and I went with the thing that was really happening, for me.
There's another band that we'll talk about shortly that you had a little bit to do with. Four fellas that were doing, or two of them were doing a university course in Sydney, and they thought, I don't think really I'll go into teaching. I think I'll become the Wiggles. So I guess there's the audacious behaviours of youth, I guess that helps, doesn't it? When you're coming out of uni, you haven't earned any money at that point. It's not as though you're chucking in an accounting career or anything.
No, that's right. Yeah, it is the kind of the arrogance of youth, because at that point when you think, oh, you can, the world is your oyster, and you can just dive into anything that you want to go for, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. We were just got lucky. We couldn't believe the reaction to what we were doing, because I didn't think anybody would be interested, but anyway, they were. And my brother, fortunately, who also formed the band for this talent quest that we had at the school. He just instantly took the harmonica. He got a couple of lessons how to bend a note, and he was away within a few days of us deciding to form this band for the quest. He was playing, and he sounded just fantastic, and he became quite one of the great Australian harmonica players, and he's still quite renowned for that. And he ended up playing. We used to worship, Brownie McGee and Sonny Terry. And Jim ended up playing with Brownie McGee on his Australian tours, and it's just he was a natural musician, but he didn't discover it until he took to the harmonica.
Now, we cannot go past without talking about our friends up in Wangaratta. I have a mate who's called Craig, who's 6'4", and he's still to this day offended by the fact that you think he's a whacker. Where did that come from? That particular song, it just fascinates me.
It's just a made-up song. I made up on the road, but because we used to, we did a lot of travelling between Sydney and Melbourne. Because we're based in Melbourne, and I'm now based up in Katoomba, but in those days we were driving up a lot, and we'd go through Wangaratta, and you'd be, we used to smoke a bit of dope in those days and just enjoy the whole world. It was just a kind of a funny story, a story song about landing a bit stoned at some cafe in Wangaratta or a roadhouse. And getting kicked out, but it actually never really happened. But what was inspired, what started the inspiration for that song was I used to collect lots of 20s and 30s magazines, and one of them was the Australian Hawaiian magazine, which had a picture of two blonde girls wearing hula skirts, and the caption was the Wangaratta Wahinis, plural. And I thought, that's just fantastic.
That's got a song title written all over it. We had a text from Steve, and Steve says, my Captain Matchbox Wangaratta Wahine album cover is my all-time favourite, and he acknowledges Michael Looning's work on that, and says 6'4", broad shoulders, what a whacker, one of the great lines in music.
I know it's the great lines in music, but it was certainly, people remember that line, but I love the fact that friends who came from Wangaratta came from Wang,
Of course.
The catch thing for me was my wahine in Wang. And so we thought, there's Wangs, people from Wang, I just had to put that in the song.
Well, I think I would have thought one of the great challenges of writing a song is having something that rhymes, and you've got a whole stack of stuff. They're having you bang and,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good fun.
So, a lot of the people we talk to who had musical careers back when you were starting, and we've been fortunate enough to talk to a lot of them, continue in the music industry exclusively, and they're still churning out the same old hits, but you've done a bit since then. Tell us a bit about Circus Oz.
Circus Oz, well, after we had a truck smash, and we were also about to go on tour to America with John Lee Hooker in 75, and what happened was the tour, John Lee Hooker had a stroke, and so the tour was cancelled, so the band just fell apart, and my brother went off overseas, and I decided to join the Pram Factory Theatre, because I always wanted to form a theatre circus sort of thing, that was really, and I found a friend of mine told me that the Pram Factory were thinking of the same way, so I joined up with them and learned a few circus skills, and we went on the road, and Soapbox Circus was formed, and that Soapbox Circus then, after a few years, then evolved into Circus Oz, which was, was a dream come true for me. So, so I was founding member of Circus Oz, and then eventually my brother came back after being in Britain and overseas in Europe, and rejoined. And, The trouble for me was that I had to leave Circus Oz because the band wanted to go back on the road and the circus wanted to be a circus, and I just wanted to stay in the circus. But the band couldn't felt they couldn't survive without me. I think they could have actually, but anyway, that's another story. So I rejoined the band, but I loved being in Circus Oz and South Park Circus. It was a great experience for me, and I learned a few skills.
You ate fire. I was reading your bio, and it said fire eater. I'm like, what can't Mick do?
Well, a lot of things, but I can eat fire. And one of the things I'm generally good with is fire, because if you make a mistake with that, it's painful.
Yeah.
It's very quick.
It's like playing with fire, isn't it? Really?
Yes, that's right. And just the skills, just developing the skills as I went along, because I never really got trained. I'm also a very bad tap dancer, but I've got friends who taught me tap dancing and things like that. So, but I think I've really got 2 left feet, but I've got away with it. That's it.
I think the genetic component of a vaudeville family might help a bit too. That would have come through, wouldn't it?
I think so, a little bit. Yeah. Great aunts I had one great aunt who was a soubrette, but she was a tap dancer that used to, believe it or not, she used to tap dance on points.
Wow.
Like a ballet dancer.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Ridiculous. It's a sure way to ruin your feet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Her chiropodist sends his best regards.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned to my daughter, who's in her early 30s, that I was going to be talking to Mick Conway today, and she looked blankly at me, and I said, Jollity Farm. And suddenly we had cows going moo and dogs going woof and all sorts of stuff. She was up and about.
Yes.
Had a bit to do with the Play School ABC Kids thing as well?
Yeah, Play School. I discovered in the late 80s, well, I think actually Captain Matchbox was essentially a kids band anyway.
Yeah.
We were just fun, and, there were some things that weren't exactly a children's thing, but mostly it was just the sense of fun was a kids thing. And so it was a natural progression for me to go into children's entertainment, and Jollity Farm is such a fun song with all the animal noises and things like that. And ABC, it was very early in the Play School period where they actually did little films. Usually they did everything in studio, but they made a little film about Jollity Farm and repeated that on the ABC quite a bit. So that kind of helped the career. Then I got joined, did school shows, one-man school shows for 30 years as well as doing night shows and Conway Brothers and touring to Britain and America and things like that. But I loved doing kid stuff, and that's where I linked up with the Wiggles. So we were both ABC artists, and we used to go and busk out with some of the Wiggles and other people around in Sydney, and we formed a great friendship, and long run, just by chance, they got me to do Wags the Dog, the voice of Wags the Dog, and co-write songs with them and things like that. So that was a lot of fun as well. They're great people to work with, and they're just going on to like huge. Now,
you've just upset Grant. He thought Wags the Dog was real.
Sorry?
Grant thought that Wags the Dog was a real dog that could talk.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, you've upset him now. He didn't realise there was a human involved.
What do you think's the secret to the success of the Wiggles then, Mick? I mean, they've just been this global phenomenon, and it just keeps going on and on.
Yeah, they just do it really well, but they're also authentic. Some people do children's performances as a way of making money or something, and certainly the Wiggles have made a lot of money, but the reason is not because they slick or something like that. It's because they were authentic about entertaining kids, and they understood, because they went through childhood education on the tertiary level. They understood how children think, and also they wrote really neat, really pop songs, really catchy pop songs that people remember, and so they're still doing that. So that's I think the secret to their success. And Anthony Field as well has been it right from the start. He still is, but they've just just got it right, and they had really good management along the way.
I think the other thing that they did really well, and I don't know whether it was accidental or intentional, but we've had the good fortune to chat with Greg Page on this program. In fact, I sang Hot Potato with Greg on the wireless, and $50 was donated to charity. I think they donated so I'd stop singing, to be honest. But the fact that they had such an identity associated with the colour of their shirt, that when Greg had his health problems, that they could just, I think it was Lachlan they brought in first, that could wear the yellow shirt. And so the kids, because they're so young, they weren't so much attached to Greg or to Jeff, but the guy wearing the yellow or the purple shirt.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it didn't, as it turned out, they've had a lot of different personnel changes, but it hasn't dented their success or their creative ability, So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think the yellow, red, purple, what was the other one?
Blue. Good morning, Anthony, in case you're listening. Yeah. Now, we asked Greg about why he wore yellow. And have you heard the story as to why he wore yellow?
No, I don't think I do.
No, we asked him, and the reason he said was when they decided what they'd wear, they decided they'd wear a solid coloured shirt. And I think it was Murray had a red shirt and Jeff had a purple one already. So they headed into Sydney, and this is a store that people in Sydney will know about, Gowings. Not the most salubrious of clothing stores. You wouldn't call them sartorially splendid. And when they got to the shop, they said to the guy at the front counter, "Where can we find skivvies?" And the bloke pointed in the back of the shop, and Anthony took off and got there and got the blue one. And when they got there, the yellow was the only option. And so Jeff said, there's no reason apart from that was the only colour we had, but it's become synonymous with him.
That's great. I have heard that. That is true story too. They're really fun, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. Now, Mick, the reason we got you on, apart from it's just great to have a chat and hear about what you're up to and stuff, you're about to do some touring, I believe.
Yeah, I'm practically retired, but I just do occasional bit of touring in a duo now, because I did have the National Junk Band for 23 years or something like that. Touring around, doing a lot of festivals and shows around Australia, but that died with COVID. But I had previously to that, I'd also, as a sort of a sideline, I had a duo, which is much easier to deal with, and I work with a really fabulous guitarist and multi-instrumentalist, who's Robbie Long, or Big Daddy Robbie Longlegs, and so I've been working with him for quite a few years through everything, and so we're doing a trip down to Victoria with 3 dates, one at Wangaratta.
Of course, it'd have to be, wouldn't it?
Which we found. Well, I haven't done many shows in Wangaratta. For a while, after that song came out, I didn't really do any shows. I think they were slightly insulted, but be a go at Wangaratta. It was just because I loved the name. But then, so I've got one at the Vine Hotel on Thursday. I can't remember now.
We'll find it and we'll put it on the website. That'll be the easiest option, because I'm going through your website and I can't find it either as we're talking.
It's at the Vine Hotel at Thursday, the 29th of May at Wangaratta.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Friday, where I'm at the Castlemaine Theatre Royal.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Theatre Royal, that's just right, wrong. Played there before, but no, the Northern Arts Hotel, the cool room at the Northern Arts Hotel.
Nice.
Castlemaine on the 30th of May. And then on the 31st of May, the Saturday, I'm at the Wesleyan Hotel at Northcote, on High Street, Northcote.
Oh, that's getting a bit closer to home base, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, a bit closer to you guys. And Sarah Carroll she's down the Bellarine. She's coming up to that one as well. She's going to be a support act with us. So.
There's also the documentary movie that's around as well, Mick, I was reading about.
Yeah, we've got another showing of that. We had that in Sydney and sold out in Sydney a couple of times, and in Melbourne, sold out, and it's got back in Melbourne in July, the 15th. So make that, because it's a really beautiful little documentary about my brother and I. But also, it's up. I'm up in Katoomba, and it's right near Mount Victoria is right near Katoomba, and there's a screening next week of that, and it's got a number of places around Australia that's starting to get into. So it's hard to place, but the documentary is beautiful, and it's not like a rock and roll on the road documentary, because we were never rock and roll anyway. But it's not. It's more about the lives, and it's really an emotional roller coaster. It's funny, but it's also so my brother's struggles with MS, multiple sclerosis. Has affected. He's no longer playing now, but so it's a big insight into our lives, and just great to have a film made about you. It was partly made about us because I was doing a show in Melbourne, and a filmmaker, Fiona Cochran, saw that we had. I had a book. There was a book about me and Jim as well, which has done really well, and so she thought that reading the book that it would make a good story, and she's made a really good story. I didn't make it. She did a great job.
Well, you can find it, everything you need to know, including buying tickets to that, at mickconway.com. Now, you are a Mick without a K. M-I-C Conway.
Oh, and the reason for people ask me about that, but the reason for that is I was M-I-C-K.
Right.
I couldn't afford the K. No, but it's because I got nicknamed by Dave Fleck, and I was for many years called Microphone on stage. Everyone called me Microphone.
Right.
And so short for Microphone is M-I-C. That's sort of just stuck. So it wasn't that I went to a numerologist and decided that I'd have a better career if I changed my.
Someone was talking about that during the week on the radio. I don't know what show I was listening to, but someone was talking about it. Hey, we better let you go because you've been very generous with your time, Mick. It's been great to have a chat. Now.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I had a choice really between two songs to play on the way out, and you know which one I've chosen, don't you? The Cows Go Moo. Stick around, folks. This is just high-quality music. It's a song designed for kids, but if you don't think that this song is going to absolutely... You're going to have it in your head for the rest of the day. It's called Jollity Farm, Mick Conway's Whoopee Band, officially.
Okay.
Thanks, Mick. We'll chat again another time.